to Dizzy Red Panda, a podcast about all the crafting projects that make us dizzy with excitement. This week we have knitting and a tiny bit of crochet.
I'm Katie. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and I'm on Ravelry and Instagram as Nerdy in Plaid.
And I'm Cheryl, just outside St. Paul, Minnesota, on Ravelry as Red and Instagram as Red Knitter.
Show notes and links can be found just down below there, and if you have any questions, please let us know. Mm-hmm. It is very cold in Minnesota right now. Let's just go across that. And we're going to talk a little bit about that in our official topic of discussion today, because we're all official. But just because it's cold in Duluth, that doesn't stop people from doing crazy things like going on winter hikes. I'm not one of those people right now because it's just too cold. But we do have the Bear Grease race that started today. And the Bear Grease is a sled dog race. And it lasts for about a week, and it goes up the North Shore, I believe, and back. I've lived here for 17 years, and I still don't know that.
I've never seen it.
I should be honest, I have never gone to, so people can go. It's quite the public thing to go and see them start the race, which is pretty fantastic. I have never gone because it's always cold, super cold. They do other events around the city, though, and so those are kind of fun to go to. So yesterday they had the cutest puppy contest, where they bring really adorable puppies, and the public can go around and get a voting sheet, like a ballot, and then they can pet the puppies, and they're all different breeds, and it's adorable. And then you can vote on which one, and I think they win like a small prize. So that one's a lot of fun. And then I know Glen Sheen Mansion, which is our historical mansion in town, had like a brew tour. So you could, I don't know, it involved beer, the house, no lights, and something with the race, and I didn't quite get that.
Oh, well, that place is haunted, so there's
that.
It
truly is. But they've been doing a lot more outreach stuff, which I think will be fun. Yeah, their flashlight tours is what they call them, are 21 and over, and they turn off all the lights and you walk around with a flashlight. Because that's not going to be scary at all.
No, if you're interested in like true crime mysteries or hauntings, look up Glen Sheen Mansion in Duluth, Minnesota. I think they're becoming a little more forthright with what has happened there, because it used to be that they like couldn't talk about any of it, and it sounds like that has changed.
So I volunteered there when I was in high school, so I actually know quite a bit about the mansion, and I've had like a sleepover in the mansion and stuff. It was really awesome.
Oh my god, that's awful. No.
We stayed in the basement, but I mean, we were teenagers. It was all the volunteers. It was a lot of fun, but yes, it does cement my belief that there is something in there. Anyway, there were 2 murders in the house in the 1970s. And we weren't allowed at the time that I volunteered there to point out where the blood was, but now I believe that they point out where it is on the tours. So, and I thought it's on wood, so it's not like it's like, let's walk around this chalk outline. Let's be really clear about that.
And didn't it used to be that if like people on the tour asked about it, that the tour guides were supposed to shut that down? Like they weren't really able to respond?
The response that we had was, out of respect for the family, we don't discuss it. So what happened was that the youngest daughter was murdered by her, and her nurse were murdered by her adopted daughter. And so when she died, Elizabeth Congdon is her name. When she died, she willed the house to the University of Minnesota Duluth. And so it is part of the UMD campus and things that we do now. So it is run by the university. So it's run as a museum. It's a really cool place. It's beautiful inside.
And it's beautiful.
Absolutely. It's absolutely stunning. The grounds are wonderful. And they're doing a really good job of bringing in other events. So one of the summer events that they do is they do concerts on the pier, because it's right on the lake. So of course the Congdons had their own yacht, as you do when you've made your money in railroad and apple trees. I feel like I should tell Amy Beth that Mr. Congdon really loved apples, like in a major way. And so like they had orchards in Washington. And so I feel like she would be all about that. But they do, so out on like the cement pier, in the summertime, they'll do concerts once a week and bring in like a local band. And like people come to those concerts now. And so you bring your own chair. There are many people that show up at like in kayaks, or their boats will be up on the lake, or in the lake, and just show up there. It's pretty cool, actually. Anyway, so there's a lot of events going on, even though it's inappropriately cold here. Let's put it that way. I have a lot of adjectives that I'm just not going to say, but we'll just say inappropriately cold.
Yeah, I heard someone on the radio call it unseasonably cold yesterday, and I thought, this is not unseasonable. We are in Minnesota.
Right.
But there are some adjectives for how cold it is right now. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's too cold. Like, it's cold enough that it's not snowing. It's that cold.
Yes.
But you guys got snow, didn't you?
We got a little bit of snow, and it's supposed to snow a lot tonight. Okay. So we're wondering if schools might be canceled tomorrow.
Got it. Anyway, so Bear Grease is going on, plenty of other events, but life keeps going when it's super cold out. Next weekend, my mom and I are going to Luskanainen. It's a Finn festival, a couple hours north of here, in the middle of nowhere. No, they don't have a website, because if you're in the community, you obviously know about it.
Sure.
And you don't need directions or knowing what weekend it is, because you just... I'm irritated about that. I'm like, I really want to go and spend my money there. But if you don't tell me, give me directions to where the middle of nowhere is, I can't get there. They have
you gotta be in the know.
Exactly. So when I go, I will take pictures of things. And all right, should we get started? You look nice and cozy today.
I am. I've been breaking out all of my warmest and favorite sweaters lately.
Nice.
This is like... You know, it's cold out, but I'm just like, this is what we've been training for, knitter. We are ready for this. So I've been breaking out all my hand knits lately. So this is my Sun-Daughter sweater by Diana Walla. I think it's from like one of Brooklyn Tweed's collections, if I remember right. So it's a few years old. It's pretty. It goes with lots of stuff. This is one of my go-to sweaters in the winter, every winter.
Is it a fingering weight or a worsted weight?
This is a worsted weight,
nice.
So it knit up really nice and quickly.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Nice. All right, should we jump into... I'm not wearing anything hand knit today. Well, except my socks, which again, I'm not going to show you my feet because that's weird. Can I share a really odd fact that I learned yesterday?
Yes.
Because I love trivia. So one of my newest favorite podcasts is Ologies by Allie Ward. And so she goes through different ologies and has a subject on it. So apparently the reason why scientists think people have foot fetishes is not because the foot is phallic, but because where the sexual pleasure is in your brain versus, I don't know what the foot part of your brain is. But they sometimes get wires crossed, and that's why they think that you develop it.
Interesting.
That might get cut out. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. But I love really weird trivia, so send it my way. And also really bad puns. All right.
Okay, why don't you start, because you have a bunch of... Okay, you texted me a couple days ago and you're like, I'm determined to have a finished object, and you've got like a whole bunch of them, so clearly
okay, okay. Oh, I should also let you know that my mom finished her weekender sweater. She is determined to wear it, so she just is weaving in ends. I count that as my finished object, even though I haven't touched mine. That's all. So the first finished object I have is actually a crocheted blanket that I only crochet really one thing, and that's hexagons. That's like all I do, because I fell in love with the Weekender blanket by Sandra Paul. She's known as Cherry Heart. She has a podcast. I'll link her down below too. But she does a lot of free crocheted patterns on her blog, but she also has, I think, some paid for patterns too. But she has this hexagon pattern called the Weekender blanket, and it's a join as you go. And I wasn't joining as I went, so I had to seam the whole thing together. And so what I used was two single ply acrylic worsted weight. I don't know why I had the yarn, but I did. And so I held them together to get rid of the yarn faster. So this is much, much bigger than the original one, which would probably in size with the same pattern be about that big. So, and many people have done it in different sizes. It's a 3-round repeat. Like, it's wonderful. So I finished the blanket. I'm not going to show you the blanket because Gigi is resting comfortably on it. I had to seam it together, and I sort of just gave up. I'm like, it's big enough, and I'm over this blanket. If you click on the link below, it will take you to the picture of the full blanket, and you'll notice there are some strings kind of like, I didn't weave in all my ends, but I'm still considering it done because I folded it kind of book style. So like the ends were in, and then, or in thirds is really what I did. And then I put it in the bottom of a basket that Gigi has taken over. And so she is sleeping in it, sleeping on it now. And this is all I have left. And I'm good with that. So I'm counting that as a finished object because it is off my plate and out. I never have to really deal with it again.
Yeah, fair.
Yes. All right. The second thing I finished was the gray tweed hat that I was working on last week. So this is the 96 stitches rib, 2x2 ribs forever. That's all. This is out of the Plymouth Homestead tweed. So it has really nice tweeds in it. I think my decreases got a little pointy, but whatever. It's going on ahead. It'll be fine. And that is 100% wool. The other two ones that I did, the other two hats that I finished also are from Patterns. Surprise, surprise. The first one is called The Very PDX by Liz Abenanti. All of her patterns are free on Ravelry right now. You might have seen her patterns in the last couple of weeks on the Hot Right Now page. And she made all of them free. So she's known for Traveling Woman shawl. There's a series of shawls called that. And then the Saroyan. Yeah. But she's done a lot of hats and cowls as well. So I wanted to try one out. So I finished this one. This is called The Very PDX. And it looks like it's a little bit of a bucket hat, which I wasn't super thrilled with because it flares out at the bottom. And it has a hemmed brim, which I had never done before.
I like a hem.
I'm actually kind of a convert to it.
It's tidy.
Yeah, well, this one's not the tidiest because it was my first one. Let's be realistic. But whatever.
Tidy to me.
Oh, let's see if that actually showed. So I'm going to count it. Like, you can't feel it on your head. So essentially it's a garter rib. I screwed up the garter rib and I just slipped these stitches instead of knitting them every row. So I did every other row on that. It's fine.
I like how it looks.
Yeah, so I'm going to put it on. It looks fine on.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice and warm. It has not gotten the outside test yet. But I thought it was going to look like a bucket hat from the 1990s. And I'm really glad it doesn't.
Yeah, it must just be pulling in with the garter rib, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I'm used to the brim of the hat to have ribs, so I'm used to that sucking in, and it doesn't. I really, really like the folded brim, and I'll probably be doing it again. Because I think that's really nice to have that double layer on your ears. Yeah. And then the last one that I finished, it's called the herringbone hat. Doesn't look very herringbones to me. It's by a Russian designer, and I'm not going to attempt that name, so it'll show up down below. So that's what it looks like.
Cute.
And so that looks like a tree with stars to me.
Yeah.
Rather than, I'm not sure where the whole herringbones thing is coming in. So, and I'm also going to brag a little bit about my pom-pom. I'm loving that pom-pom.
That is a perfect pom-pom.
It is massive, and it makes me happy.
Massive pom-poms are the best pom-poms.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
I used Drops Nepal for this, which is a wool alpaca blend, and light blue and off-white. That's about all I can tell you about it right now. You're supposed to do the brim in the white, and I just didn't feel like it. I actually had less of the white. Oh, that's true. Sure, I did it for if I'm wearing makeup. Sure, that's what I was going for. But I just had one skein of the white, so.
Sure.
That's all. But yeah, her patterns are clearly charted. I ended up using a US 5 on this hat, and the reason this hat took me a much longer time than other hats that I work on, just because that 5 hurt my hands a little bit more, which I wasn't a super fan of. But yeah, it's a really cute hat, and her patterns are well written. I'll be making more of them because I've bought more of them. Yeah.
Cool. I just have one thing this week, and it was something I didn't mean to make, but I did because it's really cold out.
I'm thinking like, oh no, I'm just gonna grab a ball of yarn and like my needles did their own thing. I followed a pattern.
It just fell off of my needles. Yeah, I mean, it was a really quick project, and it's not gonna look very nice on camera, but
oh, that's cute.
It's gonna work with what I have. So this is the Dreo headband by they're called Fibered Tails on Ravelry. Mm-hmm. So whatever. And surprise, surprise, Cheryl made something out of leftover yarn. So
you're really, really good at that, though.
I'm really trying to be good at that because I want this stuff out of my life. So this is leftover Malabrigo sock in the Condombe colorway, which I learned is a kind of drumming.
Cool.
It was cool when I looked up the word because I was like, I bet this means something. So that was neat.
Is it held single or double?
It is held double using an 8. And I don't know how well you can tell, but this is brioche. And this was my first time doing single color brioche.
Okay.
Which people say that 2-color brioche is easier than single color brioche because you can see like what goes where a little bit better. But this really, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. It's obviously like a really simple little thing, but I didn't find that it was difficult to do the single color brioche. I have to say though, I wouldn't recommend the pattern.
How come?
And that's kind of a bummer. It was a freebie, so it was a sort of you get what you pay for situation. Mm-hmm. But I had to do a lot of guessing when it came to the twist part of it. Like there were parts left out of the pattern. Oh. There were incorrect parts, and supposedly it had been tech edited, and I'm just having trouble determining how that's possible because it wasn't correct.
Okay.
So that was really frustrating. And then like it's mattress stitched together, and I did a really crappy job. I don't know if that was me or if I could have like used some instruction as to like how to do a better job mattress stitching, or if it just should have been written for a 3-needle bind off. Or
I think brioche can be a little bit challenging. I've never mattressed, seamed, or did any seaming in brioche, but I think it can be a little bit challenging because it is so stretchy.
Yeah.
And so I can understand frustration in lining that up and trying to get that right.
That's not good. That's not good at all. So, I mean, it came together, like, I managed to sort of muddle my way through this twist, and it's like a true twist. Like, you knit the separate little strips, and then you physically twist them afterwards. So, like, the end result is fine. It will work fine. I needed something to cover my ears when I have my hair up on really cold days. And this will do that purpose. But there are a ton of patterns that are really similar to this, so I would check out a different one if you're looking for something like this.
Got it.
My 2 cents.
Got it. I'm going to do a cut, and then I'm going to insert something into a previous part because I forgot an important part of the pattern that I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
My very PDX. I'm sorry.
Okay. Going back.
Insert and then go on.
What are you working on?
So the first thing that I'm working on is a cowl, but I wanted to do a little Cheryl bragging. So it isn't a bag that... Hey. Cheryl made, so we're twinsies, and so it's a wonderful garden. And if you'll notice, it has a gray cat in it, so that's a Gigi taking a nap in a garden. Anyway, so I wanted to point this out because it's super cute, and I really, really like it.
Yeah, I like this one too.
The pattern that I'm doing is I'm doing a cowl pattern, and it's with a new yarn, a fairly new yarn. It's by Cascade, and it's called Luminosa. Which I'm like, way to cash in on the Harry Potter-ish sounding name. But it is weirdly metallic. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it up. Do you see how it kind of glows?
Maybe it is magic.
It is really weird, but then there's also like this black halo on it.
Yeah. Huh.
And so it comes in other colors, but of course this is cobalt blue, so this is Katie blue.
Right. And is that like an I-cord type construction?
Yeah, so it's a chain
braided.
And so the blue is the chain. Let's see if I can get this to show up. The blue is the chain, like the chained tube, essentially. Mm-hmm. And then it's blown in with the black fiber. So the blue is the nylon. So this is a 52% nylon and then alpaca and wool yarn. So it's also really nice and soft, which is also really nice. It has about 250 yards per 100 grams skein. So, I mean, it's a light worsted DK weight. Mm-hmm. But I was on the hunt for a pattern, and because it's a newer yarn, like, there wasn't very many. So the pattern surprise, surprise, that also used this yarn.
Cool.
And so I'm about halfway done with it. You can't really see much. But it starts out as rib. Oh, that's turning out much more blue than it is. It looks much more black. So it starts out with a whole bunch of rib, and then you go into garter, and then you are decreasing every like 7 or 8 rounds so that it gets narrower as it goes up your head. And I'm using size 10 needles, so this thing goes really, really fast, which I really enjoy. And it's just nice and cuddly. That's all I have to say about it now. All right, what are you working on?
I am continuing to work on my Lillian cardigan.
Yay.
So last time I had the back done.
Yeah.
And I got both fronts about done, and, you know, they're really long, so they don't
I do fit. Love how that marl is turning out, though.
Yeah.
I think it looks really good.
Thanks. I think so, too. So there's not a ton to say except that, so this is a no closure cardigan, which I love because I don't have to pick out buttons. I don't have much for button options around here anymore. But you work the non-button band at the same time as you work the actual front. So there's not going to be any picking up to do later, which is nice.
Which is wonderful.
I mean, it'll still need to be seamed because this is made in pieces, but that's definitely going to reduce the finishing work that I have to do. So that is great. With how my I'm all about that. So yeah, that's going really well. I did want to just mention, so this pattern, the way she wrote it, she asks you to slip the stitches on either side. Mm-hmm. And I am doing that for the band side because that gives a nice edge that I find pleasing. I am not doing that for the seam side because, so normally when a pattern calls for, or even if it doesn't, like some people tend to slip the stitches along an edge that's going to be seamed because it's easier to see where you're picking up the stitches with your mattress stitch. I find that it's just too open to get a really sturdy seam that's invisible and all of that. So I normally do not slip the stitches when I'm going to seam.
Got it.
However, so I've been ignoring that part of the instructions. But what I forgot about was that this has like a slit at the bottom of the side seams.
Got it.
And I should have slipped along those edges too. So, oops. It's not going to be quite as tidy, but...
If you get desperate and you decide like that's not a good option, you could always just do like a slip stitch chain, like crochet chain along that edge if you wanted to.
Maybe I will. Yeah, because I was kind of bummed when I suddenly realized like, oh shoot, I should have slipped just for those few inches, but...
You mean you're not going to rip back to fix that?
I'm going to rip back. I'm not going to rip back. Oh, and then there's this like weird construction here because like this part of the band that goes along the back is going to have to get stitched down. So it's sort of funny looking now. But yay, it's cruising right along.
So you've got the body knit, so you just have sleeves left.
I have sleeves and I have pockets because this does have 2 pockets, like patch pockets on it that I intend to do because that just seems extra cozy to me.
Absolutely. And you can stick your cookie in it.
I know, you need a cookie pocket. That's the truth.
The key is going to be to not let your kiddo steal your cookie.
You have to eat cookies out of sight of the child.
Okay.
That's important.
That is important.
Okay, what else do you have going on?
I cast on this hat yesterday. I'm a bit smitten with color work, if you can't tell, but I am bound and determined to get better at it. I have decided that I am nowhere near ready for a sweater yet, like a colorwork yoke sweater, which is beautiful, but I also have issues with the whole sweater thing and finishing the sweater. So this hat is called the Escher hat, as in MC Escher. He is one of my favorite artists just because I find him intriguing and puzzling. And so this hat, so I'll just show you.
Oh.
Yeah, I did a lot yesterday. And
that
I
is a lot.
Stay up that late last night.
That's like most of a hat.
This is about 17 rows into a hat. So I'm doing this out of Cascade 220, a charcoal color, even though it's coming up black. So I had to pick up the charcoal color at the shop yesterday at my LYS because I didn't have a worsted weight, tightly plied wool anywhere in my stash. Really, I just didn't want to go dig it out is what it was. And then I had the cream color, so. And I'm like, but I want a yarn that will be a Cascade 220. And you don't have any. I do have plenty of Cascade 220. I really just was being super lazy. The hat pattern was originally knit in black and white, but I won't knit with black. So I picked something super close, as in a charcoal gray. So
it's different. Charcoal is different.
It is. And I don't, it's a mental thing for me, but like knitting in a charcoal gray is much more palatable than knitting in a black. Even if I'm knitting at night with a lamp next to me, it's a difference. I don't know why. Yeah, so this is a really cool pattern. It shifts. It's charted. The whole thing's charted, which is wonderful.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I really, really like it. It's addictive in that every row is different, but it's not going to repeat and repeat and repeat. And it's intuitive. And what I really like about this one is that there aren't really long floats versus this blue hat. There are some really long floats in there.
Yeah.
So I learned how to be better with my floats on that one, but I don't have to think about my floats in this one, which I really like. And I'm going to do the cool thing to do now. What knitters do. I'm going to show you that.
Nice.
Because I can. Because I don't feel super ashamed about the inside of my hat anymore. I would say this would be a good beginning color work pattern. Just because it gives you like the action of and practice of using 2 hands without making you worry about float. Are you working on anything else?
I have one other thing that I'm working on in my garden bag. So funny. It doesn't look like much yet, so I'll just doesn't look like a whole lot. It's going to be something though. So I'm calling these my beeswax mittens with a flap.
Okay.
Because I'm putting together 2 patterns. I'm putting together the beeswax mitts that a lot of people are probably familiar with because her patterns are everywhere. Yeah. And I've already made this hat for my sister-in-law. And my sister-in-law, before she knew that I had made her this hat, sent me a picture of the pattern and was like, "Can you make these for me?" And I was like, "Yes, and by the way, I've already knit you the hat." But she not only wants... She doesn't just want the fingerless mitts, which is how the pattern is written.
Right.
Here. You can see I've been sketching.
Okay. I wasn't sure if the sketch was part of the pattern or if it was what you did, but yeah.
Okay. So I'm combining the beeswax mitts pattern with the mittens with a flat pattern because she wants convertible mittens instead of just fingerless mitts. So this one looks like a pretty simple one, I hope. As you can see, I'm not very far.
That's okay.
And it's because I'm just really too lazy to do math and like make sure I'm doing this right. And so I don't know if she's going to have these before winter is kind of over. Luckily, winter lasts a long time here, so I have a while to finish them.
I mean, we get snow in April on a fairly regular basis, so.
Right. But I'm going to see her in a few weeks for my son's birthday party, so it would be nice to have them done for her. Because, like, when we got together for the holidays, I was like, here's your hat. You'll get your mittens someday. Really make these for her.
Well, you didn't say which holiday that she would, which Christmas she would get them. I mean, it's not like it's an IOU Christmas present.
No, because, like, I had already made her a Christmas present. This is sort of a bonus present just because she's very knit-worthy and I like her.
Yes.
So hopefully I've made more progress the next time we chat.
Yeah. I know that the twisted stitches or cables on that form the honeycombs, I've heard that they can get pretty addicting, and so you just want to keep working on them. So you're starting them, so hopefully it will continue.
Well, and I just have to get through that first mitten, and then I'll be good, because...
Oh yeah, the second one will be easier.
Yeah, I'm just, like, worried about screwing it up, and I don't feel like ripping it out, because I have other things I want to knit, so...
I totally get that.
It'll get done. It'll be fine. I just need to actually do it, and maybe not be tired all the time.
Yes. I'm taking plenty of vitamin D right now to help my sun supplement, because we don't get much sun right now.
Yeah.
Don't tell me if it's a placebo effect. I don't care if it's a placebo effect. I will keep taking those. I'm good with that.
I'm taking it too. I'm right there with you. I'm taking all the supplements. Gonna stay healthy.
I get that.
Yep.
All right. Shall we talk about it's effing cold outside and how do we dress for that?
Yeah.
So let me kind of set the stage of what we're talking about when it's cold.
Please do.
I know that Amy Florence of Stranded Podcast really likes to give, here's the weather and where she is in England right now. And I really enjoy that because she's like, it's really cold. And it's like, I'm like, that's tropical. Like, you don't have through snow yet. And it amuses me. I totally get that. Also, I recognize that people who are farther north than me, aka people in Canada, they're also laughing at what we're getting as temperatures right now as well.
Not all of Canada, though. Like, let's just be
Vancouver
clear.
Is fine, but...
And Toronto is further south than you are.
Okay, that's true, too. Okay, so maybe I'm just worried about, like, Thunder Bay and, like, that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's what I mean when it's cold out. Today's high temp, which at the time of recording today, we are at the high, is -5 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's much better than what it was earlier in this week. One day when I left for work, it was about 7 a.m., and it was -12 outside.
Mm-hmm.
That's not including wind chill. With wind chill, it was in the -20s or 30s. That was not pleasant. Today, at least, we get sun. Usually, if we're sunny in the wintertime, it means that it's going to be stupid cold out. I mean, you got to balance that. The other high temps that are this week, are you ready for this? It's going to be super exciting. -11 Fahrenheit, -15 Fahrenheit, and then towards the end of the week when we're supposed to get snow, we're going to have a tropical 3 degrees above.
Break out the bikinis.
Right. So in Celsius range, just to make sure I got this, like you can get the full understanding, we're ranging from -16 to -26 this week. So, yeah, dressing warm is imperative. Not just for keeping warm, but also for safety. Absolutely. Because you can get frostbite in a few minutes. All right. So let's talk about what our favorite makes are or what we make sure we put on when we go outside, besides just having a winter coat and boots.
Yeah. So I went outside yesterday because I was desperate to get out of my house.
It's the balance of cabin fever versus do I freeze and which is the worst option.
Yeah, so I really wanted to get out of the house. So yesterday I broke out the Lopi sweater.
Oh, yes.
So I only wear this sweater a couple times a year because this is bulky Icelandic Lopi yarn with color work at the yoke. So you've got strands behind it. This is serious. Like, if you see me wearing this sweater, it is cold out. But it's really great for when it's cold out because it was actually like I went to a coffee shop within a grocery store and it was actually kind of drafty in there.
Because the door opening all the time.
I wasn't by a door. I don't know if they just if their windows were drafty. It's a fairly new grocery store. I don't know what happened, but it was a little bit chilly. Not for me because I was wearing my bulky Lopi sweater.
Nice.
So this is like my go-to when it's really, really cold out.
Yes, I can totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I usually am wearing, so I'm not wearing an extra cardigan today. I'm just wearing a long sleeve shirt. But usually when I'm going to work, because the classrooms that I teach in are varying in temperature. Right now they're very cold. The extra sweater is handy.
Yeah.
I brought a few of my favorite things that I have, what I wear when I go outside. So I'm just going to show you. Lately, I've been wearing 2 hats, not including the hood. The hood, I have a really long coat, and it goes down below my knees, and it has a giant hood on it, so you can stick anything underneath. So I'm just going to show you how I dress for winter because it's super attractive. So this is a hat. This is just a ribbed hat that you saw on the podcast a few weeks ago or a few episodes ago, and the hat has shrunk because it got stuck in a much warmer, even though it's a superwash sock yarn, it got stuck in a much warmer drying cycle than it should have. So it does not fold up, but it's still warm. So I've been wearing this hat and then adding, I haven't showed this. So remember the hat of doom where I kept the tables? I added a giant fur pom-pom and it makes me stupidly happy.
That's amazing.
I wear 2 hats. Because that's super attractive. I also will wear a scarf or a shawl of some kind. So I just brought, and usually it's wool, let's be honest. So I do this. Whoops. It's important to put across your nose first so that when you get on the bus in the morning, no one can recognize who you are. Not even the bus driver who sees you twice a day. He's like, is that Katie under there? I'm like, yes. So I have a hood on too. And then I also put a cowl on.
I'm so glad you're doing this, Katie.
So that I can also put it up above my head a little bit. So really all that's showing is my glasses. Did I just use this as the thumbnail?
Yes.
I'm noticing you're not joining me in this serious discussion and demonstration.
I don't have a pile of hand knits next to me like you do. This is very impressive.
Got it. You also have mittens. You were talking about mittens.
I wanted to talk about mittens. So this is my other big thing. These look like regular mittens.
Yep.
Right? They're not regular mittens. They're double mittens.
Oh, excellent.
Double mittens are amazing.
They are.
So these are called Yummy mittens, and they're meant to be knit double. And I've made 2 pairs of these. I have one in black and one in brown. And I made them out of, this is, what is it? Brown sheep? Yeah, brown sheep worsted on the outside because I feel like the lanolin yarns have a sort of windproofness.
I agree.
And then alpaca on the inside.
Nice to keep you, that's like triple warmth right there.
It's amazing. These are amazing.
I have, not the blue mittens that I usually wear, but I have a pair of regular alpaca wool mittens that I wear. And then I can also stick them inside felted mittens, which I did not make. My mom bought these for me for Christmas. Oh. And they are wonderful. So I love these. These are felted wool.
And that looks much nicer than like a leather chopper which I have also done in the past, but they don't look as nice.
Yeah, and these get worn all the time, and they are not fuzzy or anything. I wish I had the patience to felt, but I don't. So I'll just buy mittens from somebody else who will felt them for me. Mm-hmm. And these are super warm. The only problem I have with these is I can't carry my travel mug in them because it's too slippery. And so I was waiting at the bus one day, holding on to it, just waiting, and nothing happened. And all of a sudden, like, my cup went whoosh, landed in a snowbank. It's like an adult sippy mug, so like no coffee went anywhere. But I was like, well, that's really slippery. I'm gonna have to do something about that.
That's fantastic. So that's one thing I've noticed, that like I didn't used to drive a whole lot, and I've been driving more because I'm bringing my kid to daycare. And so I haven't been wearing my hand knit mittens as much this year. I think I need to get some of those leather patches to put on them.
I have some of those leather patches. I just haven't sewn them on yet.
I need to do that.
Yeah.
Because I've been wearing some gloves from Cabela's that my husband has the men's version of them. And he's like, these are amazing. They keep your hands so warm. My fingers are freezing in these things. I don't know how he's doing it. Ooh, I'm very dissatisfied.
Yeah, that's finding the right handwear is really important. I like the dexterity of gloves. I like, but I'm like, that's individual digits that can be frostbitten faster. Keep my fingers together, and I'm all for that.
Well, and the thing is, like, when you're using a car seat, you need the individual fingers, but I'm finding that even these gloves, I'm not really able to manipulate the buckles on a car seat.
Oh,
so I've just been taking them off to be able to get them in and out of the car seat, which is not ideal, and which is why underneath my nail polish, my nails are a mess because they're just like getting cold and dry and stuff.
Oh yeah, like lotion, lots of dry. Mm-hmm. Indeed, I get that.
Yeah.
I went and had a pedicure last week, and I was like, I desperately needed one. And then we just ended up hanging out for a little bit longer so that when we stuck our feet back into our socks and our boots, it didn't get ruined.
Yeah.
So I think
it's a real problem.
It is a huge problem. It totally is. To make sure that my feet look good even though nobody sees them. It's important though.
Yes.
Any other considerations of things you wear when going outside? I feel like we've covered everything, like covering the head and the extremities. Mm-hmm. Have you ever tried, like, because I worry about pants. I'm not going to wear wool pants. Let's be realistic.
I have done, like long underwear, like cuddle duds underneath jeans. I've done that, when it's really cold. And I hadn't heard about that until I lived in Duluth for several years. And the ladies at the yarn shop were like, you need some cuddle duds. I was like complaining or whatever about how cold I was. And they're like, get yourself some cuddle duds. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So those are amazing.
The very, very thin, like, it's essentially like wool under pants, like actual pants, not like underwear.
Long underwear, like leggings.
Yeah.
So I do those sometimes if I'm really desperate, especially if I'm wearing dress pants in the winter.
Got it. Yep.
Because those just are not warm at all. And I do like fleece leggings, although I haven't been doing those as much lately because I work from home now.
I also really enjoy I have 2 pairs of fleece leggings and I really enjoy them.
Yeah.
Though with having variable temperatures in the place that I work, I can either get really, really warm or not.
Yeah.
And so I think having just a really long coat actually helps me with that issue. But
yeah. And good boots. You need good boots because that goes a long way. Like that's a lot of your leg covered.
It does. It really is. I know that one thing that's really popular in our yarn shop right now is the lane splitter skirt, which is a wool skirt. And you knit it on the bias out of, let's see, our sample is made out of Noro and Cascade 220, I think.
Yeah.
And it goes down to about your knees. And people wear them quite regularly as well. Those who made them, I know we've offered a couple of classes on them. And so that keeps you very warm too.
That's good to know. Maybe I should make one of those. I have never knit a skirt.
I have never knit a skirt, nor will I. just because the way this skirt clings is not, it doesn't cling in places that I want attention brought to. That's just me. Sure. I don't have the confidence to wear it. Let's put it that way. So the people that I have seen wear it in a variety of body types, it looks really good on, and like they rock it. So that's good on them, but that's just a me thing. All right. I have nothing else to say, but except good luck staying warm.
You too. We'll pull through this.
We'll pull through this. And someday we will see color again, except for the white and brown and gray that we get.
Yeah.
All right. Well, stay warm.
You too.
Let us know how you keep warm or what is considered cold in your area. If we are being total babies about this, I will accept that. Or if it is 40 or 30 and you still consider that cold, I will accept that as well.
I might laugh a little bit.
I might. But if you're not used to cold, you're not used to cold.
Right.
And if it's generally warmer where it is, they also withstand heat a whole lot better. And I don't handle heat. So
neither do I.
So, all right. Well, happy winter. We'll see you in February.
Bye.
Bye.